Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so did you know that today's top-tier AI models are being trained on upwards of 15 trillion tokens? I mean, we are practically talking about a digitized snapshot of all recorded human knowledge. It's wild. I'm so thrilled you're here today because we're going to look at something truly fascinating regarding that massive data appetite. We hear about artificial intelligence constantly, right? New models dropping every week, unprecedented reasoning capabilities, this whole seemingly unstoppable technological revolution. But behind the scenes, there is a hidden bottleneck, a critical infrastructure crisis that is quietly holding back the next great leap in innovation. Today, we're analyzing a really elegant solution to this crisis called Codatta, which is designed to completely unlock the future of AI data assets. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. What is actually throttling AI progress right now? If algorithms are getting insanely sophisticated and compute power, thanks to these massive server farms packed with GPUs, is increasing exponentially, what's the missing link? Well, for the last few years, the entire industry has heavily indexed on compute and code. They've treated the actual data almost like an afterthought. But the answer to what's holding us back isn't in the code, it's in the fuel that powers that code, the raw material. And right now, the supply chain for that raw material is severely broken. We are quite literally running out of high-quality human data, and the pipelines we do have are fraught with immense friction. Section 1. The AI data problem. Throttled by data. To understand exactly how this supply chain is breaking down, we have to look at three specific structural hurdles. And what's really interesting about this slide is how these three hurdles act together as a hidden handbrake on AI innovation. First up, we have data cost. Thanks to the scaling laws of large language models, the demand for massive, specialized datasets is growing exponentially, making acquisition incredibly expensive. Second, data quality. We have completely moved past the simple days of basic web scraping. If models train on lower-tier or AI-generated synthetic data without rigorous filtering, they risk something called model collapse, where the AI essentially regurgitates its own errors until it degrades entirely. The data absolutely must be pristine. And third, data attribution. This is a massive one dominating the current landscape. We're seeing major copyright lawsuits and sweeping scraping backlashes precisely because the current system completely fails to track exactly where data came from and who gets credit for it. These three interconnected problems are creating massive friction in the industry. To truly understand this friction, we really need to look at the stark reality of the two main players in this market. Think about the contributors, the people and systems actually generating the data. Imagine a brilliant, super niche medical researcher. They publish these groundbreaking papers that ultimately get ingested to train a multi-billion-dollar diagnostic AI. Right now, that researcher rarely retains any ownership of their data, and they almost certainly don't share in the downstream value. Once their life's work is used to train that highly profitable model, they are entirely cut out of the loop. On the other side, we have the buyers, the AI developers, and honestly, they aren't exactly having a great time either. They desperately want train now, pay later, or pay on results financial options just to manage those crushing data costs we just talked about. Furthermore, they absolutely require trustable provenance. They're terrified of compliance liabilities and copyright infringement, so they need to know with absolute certainty that the data they're buying is legitimate, safe, and legally sourced. It is a completely disconnected market where neither side is getting what they need. Section 2. Enter Codatta, the knowledge layer. Codatta is designed as an on-chain knowledge layer, but what does that actually mean in practice? Well, the operative concept here is that it assetifies data. Whether that data is produced by humans or produced by AI, Codatta transforms it from a raw, easily copied digital file into an actual, quantifiable asset. Assets that are ownable, assets that are tradable, and most importantly for those frustrated contributors, assets that are revenue sharing. Now you might be wondering, why does this have to be on-chain? Because blockchain technology uniquely solves the massive attribution problem we highlighted earlier. By utilizing an immutable ledger and a decentralized, trustless environment, Codatta takes the abstract concept of information and turns it into a concrete piece of property with an undeniable record of origin that actually holds value over time. It's a real game changer. Section 3, How Codatta Works, Under the Hood. Let's move to and see how this builds into the actual technical mechanics of this new ecosystem. To actually pull this off, Codatta relies on three fundamental pillars. Think of these as the vital gears in a brand new decentralized machine. We have the data system, the royalty engine, and the agent network. Working in isolation, sure, they're just interesting technical concepts, but working together on-chain, they provide a 30,000-foot view of a completely rewired ecosystem.
Before we dive into the specific mechanics of each one, it's really important to understand that this interconnected triad is what ultimately bridges the gap between those frustrated contributors and those anxious buyers.
First up is the data system. This is the foundation. If enterprise buyers need trustable provenance, this is exactly where they get it. The data system operates by generating cryptographic hashes, essentially unbreakable digital fingerprints for the data, and rigorously tracking its lineage. This creates a completely tamper-proof audit trail. A buyer can look at a dataset and see exactly where a piece of information came from and how it has evolved, effectively neutralizing the fear of copyright or compliance issues. And alongside that tracking, the system provides strict access control and privacy measures. It ensures that the data is secure, verifiable, and entirely ready for enterprise-grade deployment. Next, we have the financial core, the royalty engine. This is where the paradigm shift really happens for the contributors. The royalty engine handles licensing and automatic payouts through the use of smart contracts. Remember how we said contributors rarely share in the downstream value? Well, this engine fixes that programmatically. When a buyer utilizes an assetified piece of data to train their AI, the smart contract ensures that the original contributor is automatically and instantly compensated based on the licensing terms. There are no corporate middlemen taking a 30% cut, and there are absolutely no 90-day net payment delays. It is just automatic, mathematical revenue sharing. Finally, we have the agent network, which directly tackles the massive data quality bottleneck and the threat of model collapse. This isn't just a static database. It's a dynamic, active network made up of both human and AI agents. And yeah, there's definitely a certain irony in having AI agents grade other AI systems. It's sort of a digital peer review where machines police machines. Every agent in this network has an identity and a built-in reputation score tied to financial staking. Their job is to actively source, label, validate, and evaluate both the data coming in and the AI systems themselves. Because reputation and actual financial stakes are on the line, bad actors lose their standing, and the network naturally filters out the garbage. This robust validation guarantees that the data flowing through Codatta is of the highest possible quality. When you put those three pillars together, you get the ultimate win-win scenario, and it brilliantly resolves the massive bottlenecks we discussed at the very beginning of this explainer. I mean, look how far we've come from that broken supply chain. On one side, contributors are finally empowered. They get true ownership of the data they create and guaranteed smart contract-driven revenue sharing downstream. On the exact same platform, buyers get their biggest headaches solved. They acquire high-quality data with perfectly trustable provenance, backed by a tamper-proof audit trail, alongside flexible train now, pay later financial options. The market mismatch is completely resolved. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly thrilling thought. We are looking at a fundamental shift in how the digital economy operates. If Codatta successfully turns raw information into a tracked, tradable, revenue-generating asset, who will power the next era of AI? Will it be massive centralized corporations hoarding information, or will it be a decentralized network of individual contributors finally getting paid for their knowledge? Whoever controls the data layer will effectively shape the entire future of the internet. It's a brand new frontier, and the power dynamics of artificial intelligence are about to change forever. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.